Welcome to Claed Entertainment, where you can find some of your favorite movie recaps. Spoilers ahead. Please sit back and enjoy. We start the movie off as John Wick collides with a wall in his SUV. He staggers out of the car, bloodied and injured. He applies pressure on a wound in his stomach. He takes out his phone and watches a video of his wife Helen on the beach as he crawls to the side. John sags and closes his eyes. Several days ago, on a cloudy day, John awakens. He recalls being with Helen up until lately, when she fainted in his arms. She was afflicted with a disease that took her life. It's the day before her funeral. Marcus, John's longtime buddy, approaches him after the service to express his sympathies. That night, John receives a delivery. It's a tiny beagle. Helen's note is discovered by John. She wrote to him that she had accepted her death and now wanted John to find his. John is in tears. He takes the puppy outside and examines its collar, which has a flower on it, which leads John to believe Helen called the dog Daisy. Daisy follows John around on his day as he drives his Mustang. He pulls over for gas alongside 3 Russian mobsters, including Isf Tarasov, son of crime boss Viggo Tarasov. Isf approaches John's automobile and compliments it before asking how much he wants for it. It's not for sale, according to John. Isf then criticizes John in Russian, expecting that he will not understand, but John shows him wrong by speaking Russian in a low tone. Isf then tries to pet Daisy, but John chases him away. One of Isf's friends peers into the car and bids John a good day. Daisy wants to use the restroom as John prepares to go to bed. When they arrive downstairs, 2 men in shadows stand in front of John, while a third grabs a bat and whacks him in the head. While Daisy whines, he begins hitting on John. One of the males approaches the dog and snaps her neck. The man removes his disguise, revealing Isf, who knocks John out. Later, John awakens and walks over to his deceased pet, patting her head. Isf drives John's automobile to Aurelio's shop. Aurelio recognizes the car right away and demands to know where Isf obtained it. Isf boasts about stealing the automobile and killing this person's dog. Aurelio smacks Isf across the face. Isf storms away, claiming that he will give the automobile to someone else. Later, John stops by the business and inquires about Isf, and Aurelio provides John his name to establish that it was Isf who stole his car and killed his dog. Later that night, Viggo phones Aurelio to inquire as to why he struck Isf. Because he took John Wick's car and killed his dog, explains Aurelio. Viggo merely says, "Oh." Meanwhile, John enters the basement with a sledgehammer and begins bashing the floor open. He comes across a cache of weapons and gold coins. Viggo goes to Isf's house to talk about the matter. He slaps his son twice in the solar plexus to scold him, reminding him of who he had just harmed. Viggo informs Isf that John Wick was formerly linked with him before meeting Helen and deciding to quit. John had a reputation as the boogeyman, or rather, the guy who was hired to slay the boogeyman. Viggo phones John to try to mediate the situation, but John hangs up. Viggo dispatches a team of 12 hitmen to John's house that night to murder him. John easily dispatches all of them, battling with the final few before slicing the last one through the heart. A police officer approaches the front door. John addresses him by name and asks whether there has been a noise complaint, which the cop confirms. He inquires whether John is still in the business, referring to the body scene behind John. John claims to be just straightening things out. The cop bids him farewell and departs. John summons a cleanup crew with whom he has previously worked to clean up the site and dispose of the remains. They appear to be aware that this will not be the last time they assist him. Viggo approaches Wick's friend Marcus and offers him a $2 million contract to assassinate Wick. He also tells his aide Avi to contact other candidates for the job. Marcus cheerfully accepts. John checks into the Continental Hotel in Lower Manhattan, where he will stay while conducting business. Perkins is recognized by him. Winston, the manager and owner of the Continental, introduces John to another old buddy. Winston tells John that Isf is at a club called Red Circle. John enters the club where Isf and his friends are celebrating. John initially dispatches one of Isf's goons before making his way into the club's basement floor, where Isf is enjoying a night of champagne and women in a posh Russian bathhouse. When they spot John, he starts shooting at them, while Isf flees. John dispatches every hitman in his path, but he loses Isf in a getaway car. He returns to the Continental to have a cut in his side sewn up after one of Viggo's guys stabbed John in the club with a bottle. The doctor warns John that if he exerts himself, his stitches will rip. John claims that the bourbon he purchased earlier has taken care of the painkiller element of his rehabilitation. Marcus climbs to the roof of the building across the street at night and sets his sights on John in his bed. He notices someone entering through the mirror. He shoots a warning shot at John. "Perkins here." She begins shooting at John while he avoids her. She informs him that Vigo has increased the contract to $4 million if she violates the hotel's rules and murders him. He struggles with Perkins until he has her in a headlock and offers her compassion in exchange for information. She informs John that Vigo stores the majority of his assets, cash and blackmail evidence, in a church basement. John knocks Perkins out and leaves her with Harry, a business acquaintance, in exchange for one of their organization's gold coins. Harry holds Perkins chained to a chair, oblivious to the fact that she has dislocated her thumb in order to escape. She exits and covers Harry's face with a pillow before shooting him. John visits Vigo's secret vault of money and business files at the chapel. After killing the other guards in the church, John forces the priest to show him the location of the vault. He dismisses the women in the vault and sets fire to it all. Vigo learns about the fire just as he is engulfed in a barrage of gunshots from John. Despite killing the majority of Vigo's men, he is knocked out when one SUV collides with another, pushing John to the ground. Vigo apprehends him and wonders why he's gone to such lengths for retaliation over a car and a dog. John informs him that the puppy was a gift from his dying wife, and that ISF stole it. He also tells Vigo that he may either hand over ISF to him or perish beside him. Vigo abandons him to his thugs, who suffocate him with a plastic bag. Marcus, who is observing from the adjacent building, shoots one of the hitmen in the head, allowing John to take out the other. John pulls out his rifle and shoots at Vigo's getaway car, killing only him. Vigo is obliged to inform John that ISF is hidden at a Brooklyn safe house. The safe house is guarded by armed men, but that doesn't stop John from murdering them and storming the place. ISF makes another attempt to flee, but John catches him and kills him. Vigo sends his goons to Marcus' house in retribution for ISF's death and for failing to assassinate John. They thrashed him there until Vigo and Perkins shot him to death. Vigo phones John to inform him of this immediately before departing for the city via helicopter. Perkins is summoned to a meeting with Winston, the proprietor of the Continental Hotel, while waiting for John to arrive at Marcus' home. She meets Winston and 4 other men at Central Park's Bethesda Arcade. Winston informs her that she has violated the Continental's rules and that her membership has been cancelled. Her execution is carried out by 4 guys. As Winston walks away, he encounters the same cleaner who assisted John in removing the assassin's remains from his home, and he gives him many coins. When John discovers Marcus's body, he sets out to hunt out Vigo. He spots the baddies on their way to the chopper and attempts to ram into them with his automobile. Vigo orders Avi to kill John, only for John to hit him with his car. Vigo attempts to shove John's car over the cliff, but John escapes unharmed. In the downpour, the 2 battle hand-to-hand. Vigo attempts to attack John, but John pulls the blade into himself, to gain leverage to break Vigo's arm, before snatching the knife from his stomach and stabbing Vigo in the neck. He abandons him to die. We return to the opening scene, where John is still bleeding. He is motivated to continue after watching the video with Helen. He visits a dog shelter to treat his stab wound. He then brings a pit bull puppy with him and the 2 of them go home together.
Please support me with that like button and subscribing if you enjoyed this video. It really helps me out and will give you all future video release updates. As always, thank you so much for watching, stay safe and God bless.